Do you want to just quickly talk a bit about Appomate, Zain, before we get started?
Yeah, so basically, Appomate's actually been around for close to 13 years now. Started out as a basically like a marketing company as well. So we've actually made a pivot of moving away from, I guess, that corporate look into more the startup industry. We find that a lot of founders have a lot of great ideas, but they don't have the access to a team that can actually help with that. So how we try and help is we try and be an end-to-end solution as to what you're trying to build, whether it be anything from partnerships, from marketing to validation, all the way through to coding your actual platform as well. So the great thing is we're there to be able to, I guess, meet you where you're at in your journey is probably the best way to describe that. So wherever you can be and where you can sit, we're there to help.
Awesome. Thanks, Zain. With that, we have a quite informative agenda for today's session. And we'll start with UX and why it's important, and we'll go through some of the behavior models that generally come into picture when you're designing your app or SaaS product. And then we'll look at the customer lifecycle and how the design would impact at each stage. And we'll also share our core design principles that we follow when we do product design. We'll look at a case study as well, and we'll have some Q&A. But what we want to do is we want to keep this session a bit engaging. So rather than just me ranting for an hour and then finally someone asking questions, if you have any question about a product that you're currently working on or anything really, feel free to stop me and ask that question. And we'll also use the chat on Zoom and the reactions on Zoom throughout this session. So just to make sure that everyone has access to chat on Zoom, can I just get a hi on the chat on Zoom here? Awesome. Thank you. Cool. Great. Awesome. We'll get started. So, I mean, before we start talking about UX, just it is important to understand what is UX, right? So UX is basically user experience. So what is user experience? User experience is the encompassing experience a user encounters from the moment they start interacting with your business or product or service to their final touch point. So to the moment they get a value and they complete their job, right? So it talks about the user's needs, their preferences, their challenges, placing them at the heart of your development process, and crafting solutions that actually resonate with them. And I'll tell you a bit why this is really important. This is important because imagine you're building an application, right? Understanding about you, the user, gives you all the tools you need to design it in such a way that the user can actually get their job done really quickly and very easily. So that's basically what the UX is. Now, actually, let me go back. Can you take a guess on how many apps there are out there today in the market on Google Play Store and Apple App Store? Just, put your guess on the chat here on Zoom. Too many? Yes. 10 million, 500,000, millions. It's slightly about 5.5 million, 5.3 actually. On the Apple App Store, there are about 1.8 million apps. And on the Google Play Store, there are about 3.5 million. So essentially what this is doing is providing every user multiple options today in the market. So it becomes really important for any product to stand out from the competitors because there are so many apps and there are so many options for the users. If the first experience for the user is not great, there is no reason for the user to stick with us. They can just as easily move to a competitor. And statistics actually talk about that same thing. 43% of users actually abandon the app after just one use, because they did not get a great experience. And 71% of users churn within the first 90 days. So imagine you spending money getting the users, and they opening your app or using your product for one time and then just stopping using it. Just such a huge waste of marketing dollars there. On that note, any guesses on what's the average cost to acquire a user in Australia is today? $5. That's not surprising. 100 plus? Probably not 100, maybe 100 if it's a very high stake product, but on an average, it's on the Apple App Store, it's about $5.1 cost per install, and on Play Store, it's about $4.6. But I think someone actually posted $100. That is actually true for enterprise applications or for accounting applications. Say, for example, Xero or Myo, they might probably have cost per acquisition as $100+ because the customer lifetime value is higher, and it's once someone gets into an accounting platform, it's not very easy to get out of it and move to a competitor because you might have a lot of data on it. In such scenarios, the cost is about $100 there. So just answering Anisha's question here, the $5.11 is the average price to get a user to install your app. So that's the cost that you'd be paying in terms of your marketing activities on everything to get a user to download and install your app on their phone. Now, because the stakes are so high, we need to make sure that the product that we are building actually resonates with the users and the users stay with us, right? And throughout the design is basically a combination of understanding the users and the user needs and the user psychology. And in 2007, Professor BJ Fogg, who is a professor at Stanford, came up with this model called the Fogg behavior model. Now, this actually talks about the relationship between the motivation levels of a user and the ability to do something, and the amount of prompting that is required to get someone to take an action, right? So imagine it's the first day that you have joined a course or a university, and your motivation is really high, and the first few weeks everyone does all the assignments without the professors or someone having to remind them, right? But as the time goes, you need constant reminders and constant pushing from your project group or from your professors to get the assignments done. Or the same thing as when you newly start a business, the motivation is really high, and as time goes on, you need constant support and motivation there. At the same time, the ability to do something. We humans, we obviously always go for easy to do things. So if something's really easy to do, people generally take action really easily. But if it's a bit difficult to do, people don't take action because they don't want to put in that effort. And if it is hard to do, someone needs to prompt the users to take the action repeatedly and spend that effort in prompting. So with this model, what we generally do when we design the products is you always aim for increasing your user motivation by understanding their jobs, their needs, their context and everything. And at the same time, make it really easy for someone to take the action. So a combination of high motivation and ease of use will get users to take actions that you want them to take and become a paying customer or a revenue generating customer. When you look at the customer lifecycle, it starts with awareness. So when someone gets to know that, okay, there is this app, or there is this business, and this is what this kind probably satisfies the requirement that I'm looking for, and they download the app, or they become a customer, or they create an account with you, which is your acquisition. And then the first time they get a value out of your app or your product or your service, that's activation. And then they decide whether they actually want to pay for it, or they kind of generate a revenue for the business. So that's the revenue. And then if they come back and use the app again or the product again, that is retention, right? Now, at each stage, the user understanding of the product and the user understanding of their mindset is different. So when it's awareness, they're not sure whether the app is going to solve their problem. And when they get some confidence that it might, because of, say, marketing activities or social touch points or recommendations from other users, they might decide, okay, let me create an account, let's check it out. They create an account and they try to get their job done, and that's basically the activation. And when they get their job done for the first time, that's when they get a clarity on whether the product is serving their need 100%, or say 80%, or even like 50%. And when they feel that the product sufficiently satisfies their requirements, that's when they start paying for it, or the business starts generating revenue from them. And if it resonates with them and it's easier to do, and it actually provides value to them, they will come back and use your product again and again. Now, in this model, what happens is you are actually spending marketing dollars for every user you acquire. And as we saw, there is about $5, which is the average cost to acquire a user. And if you want 10,000 users, that's $50,000 of marketing dollars. But at the same time, if every user you acquire can bring in more users to your product, then you're actually optimizing your spend, and you're increasing the efficiency of your marketing spend. Say if you acquire 10,000 users by spending $50,000, and even say 20% of them bring in 2 people each, that's 2,000 people bringing in 2 people, that's 4 people. So for the same $50,000, you are actually getting about 14,000 users rather than 10,000 users. So your CPI is going down. And this process of generating product-led growth needs to be built into the product, and needs to be considered when you are actually designing or building your app, so that you don't need to bring in additional touch points or take the user out of the product to get that value for referral. So based on these things, what we have done, and based on our learnings, like I said, we have come up with our core design principles. And this is what we do this is what we follow when we design products. And today we are actually sharing this with all of you. So you can actually use this when you are designing your products, or, you can actually build your knowledge on how you can build products that would, that is product-led growth driven. The first and foremost is putting your user first. Understand the user's needs, their wants, their motivations, and their context of use. So understanding these will help you tailor the product for your target market, right? And there is a framework that we use called Jobs to be Done framework. So in the next couple of sessions, we'll actually go deeper into the Jobs to be Done framework. So using the Jobs to be Done framework, you can analyze the user's needs, the competitors in the market, and you can truly figure out what niche or how you can differentiate yourself in the competitive landscape and provide maximum value to your users. And the reason understanding this is very important is, for example, imagine you're building a mobile application, right? There are many different ways of designing it. Say it's an e-commerce application where you're selling a product and you want the users to buy the product, right? So you have a big button that says buy now. Now, the way the user interacts with it, then the position of the buttons and the images and the information that you're sharing with the user, they can be laid out in many different ways, right? But depending on the context of use, if you feel that if the user is, our users generally use our product when they are comfortably sitting on a couch or when they are at work sitting on their desk, that would tell you that, okay, the user potentially can use both hands. And even if they are using big screen devices today, you can actually put some information on the top of the screen where it's easier to reach because the user is holding the device with two hands and they're comfortable. And you can provide a lot more textual information because the user is relaxed and they have the time to read it and all that, as opposed to if the context of use for your users is when they are traveling on the bus or train. Imagine if someone's traveling on the bus or train and there is no seat, they're standing, they're holding the rails with one hand. Essentially, they're using a device with one hand, right? And in such scenarios, what happens is, as you know, today's devices have really large screens. You need to ensure that the most important things for the user are within the reach of their thumb. If you put something in the top left or top right, where the user can't easily reach with their thumb without the risk of dropping their phone, the user might not actually click on that, right? So understanding such things from the user's point of view, their context of use, their motivations, how they are using your product, why they are using your product, and actually conducting a user testing to understand that resonance and getting feedback will actually help build a product that becomes sticky. The best example for this is Google. So Google was not the first search engine, and there's also like Yahoo search engine. I don't know how many people actually use it today, but both actually provide the option to search for an information, right? But if you look at Yahoo's, which is on the right, Yahoo search page has the search bar at the top. It has other information at the bottom, depending on your, browser cookies and what you have searched in the past. And they try to provide relevant information, which is still adding a bit of value. But at the same time, when the user goes there for searching, the key job that needs to be done is search for something. And Google took that job to the next level and said, look, I'm just going to provide you with a search bar. You search for what you want. And if you don't find it, then I'm going to suggest other things to you based on your search query. So they provided a very clean interface so that they can help the user focus on what they're doing, and also made it really easy to figure out how to perform the action. So as we all know today, Google is like the leading search engine in the world, and probably one of the most valuable companies in the world. So putting users first actually helped Google increase their market share and make the products more sticky to their users. The second one is minimizing effort. Again, this goes back to the BJ Fogg behavior model. So if you can make things really easy for people to get their job done, the people will start using your product more and more. We are all, as of today, trained to expect instant results. So originally when Amazon launched one-day delivery, people were excited because it was taking about 3 to 5 days. And today, even one day is really long. And if you look at some other countries, there's a lot of activity going on in 10 minutes delivery. So you order something online and people expect the product to arrive in 10 minutes, right? And probably that takes longer to even go to the store and pick up the product yourself, right? So the other statistic there is, if page load time actually increases by, more than 10 seconds, people don't want to wait today. So you want your app to be quick, responsive, and all that. And if it is more than 10 seconds, the statistic says that people will actually bounce, and the bounce rate increases by about 123%. And some of the apps that do this really well, minimizing user effort, is YouTube, one of those apps. So as soon as you select the video that you want to play, you watch the video, and once the video is done, it will probably not wait for you to click on the next video, and based on its algorithm, based on its understanding of what might interest you, it will automatically start playing something else. If you don't like it, you can change it, but if it actually hits the mark and if it is right about what you might enjoy, you don't need to do anything. It just continues playing. And I was talking about Amazon, and Amazon as of today has this buy now button. So yes, you can select multiple products, add it to your cart, and then buy it together. But you don't need to do that anymore. You can just buy now every single product with one click, or essentially 2 clicks, right? And I don't know about you guys, but I actually just use that. Even if I have multiple products to buy, I just use buy now, and without adding things to the cart. And I think that has that's what's filled my room as of today. So with lots of products that I probably don't need as well. The third product, this one's called InShots. Not sure if many of you have seen this product, because this product is actually aimed at the Indian market. So this is a news app where it summarizes the news in 60 words. So the thing is, again, reading news or consuming news is a difficult activity for people, and they don't want to spend the time to read the news. So in this, you just read the news in 60 words, which might probably take less than a minute. And then if the news is interesting enough, there's link in the bottom of the page where you can click on it and go and read the full news article. That way, you're actually reducing the effort for the user, and the news consumption has increased. And I think they have like millions of users today. So it's about how you can get the users to complete their job easily and quickly. Prioritizing adding value over features, that's our third one. So obviously there might be there might be 1,000 different things that you could build, and there might be 100 different things that people are asking for. But prioritizing what are those features or those functionality that you could bring in that adds the most value to your users, and how you can actually position them or present them to the users would actually have a big impact on the success of your product as well. So the design should focus on adding value, but at the same time, adding features and minimizing distractions to the users. So we don't want the users distracted. We want them to focus on what they're doing, and directing the users to their desired functions easily and quickly, right? So if there's a lot of cognitive load on your applications, people might abandon it. So as per the Nielsen Norman Group statistic, websites with high cognitive load experience about 38% increase in user abandonment. But at the same time, apps with simple and clear designs increases conversion rates by about 22%. If you look at Google, again, going back to Google, on the search page, there's more features, right? So if you want to look at the map, or if you want to go to YouTube, or if you want to go to Google Play or Gmail or Meet, there's an entry point there. But it's not, Google could have as well just laid out all these icons here for more branding and more visibility and all that, but they did not do it because they don't want people distracted, and they want, they provided this option here so that the user can go there when they want, but at the same time, their key job to be done area is clear and simple without any distraction. Data-driven decision making. So this is probably the difference between products that achieve product market fit and products that don't achieve product market fit. So product market fit is basically the moment where your product fills a valid need in the market and people will actively start using it and your product gains traction. So that is product market fit, right? And that is basically the very first thing that any new applications or new entrepreneurs should be aiming for when they start building a business, because unless you have product market fit or service market fit, the business is not going to get traction and it's not going to scale. So how to get product market fit? It's by using data-driven decisions. So understanding both quantitative and qualitative data on how customers are using it, what customers might need, and how the value is delivered to the users. Using those data, you can actually design your product in a way that you're preventing wasted resources and you are increasing the user value, and thereby you're going to get product market fit. So I think in the next couple of sessions, we'll talk a bit more about product market fit and go deeper into that. But as of today, a study by Gartner says that 80% of new products fail to achieve product market fit, and thereby the entire business collapses as well. And study by Harvard Business School found that if you use data-driven decision making for every decision that you take in your business, you are 3 times more likely to get product market fit than when you compare to people who don't actually use data-driven decision making. Bain and Company says data-driven decision making can help businesses reduce time to product market fit by about 50%. So essentially, when you start a business, the runway that you're looking at is the runway to get product market fit. And if that's reduced by up to 50%, that's fantastic, because you don't need to raise more funding or give away more ownership of your business. If you look at Instagram originally started as Bourbon, which was basically another social media like Facebook, where you could share statuses, you could check into places, you could share images, and you could chat with people and all that. And essentially, when they started looking at the data of how people are using, 82% of people were just using just photo sharing functionality. So Bourbon actually took the decision to strip out everything from the product and just have it as a photo sharing application. And the rest is history. It became the fastest growing application at that time. They got like 1 million users in 6 months, and now they're one of the leading social media applications in the world. Obviously, they have now added some of the other functionalities, like you can check in or chatting with other users and things like that. But it's all centered around that image sharing functionality.
Funnily enough, they all did it on the first one platform as well. So they generated those users just on that iPhone platform.
Exactly.
Apple platform. So they didn't actually have an Android platform for the first 4 years of their existence, which is just even more crazy.
Yeah. And then Facebook as well. Facebook originally started as a face or a photo comparison website for Harvard students, and then slowly evolved based on the user needs and their requirements, and by conversations. And I don't know, there's a really good scene about this in the Social Network movie, where Mark Zuckerberg is talking to a friend who that they're talking about a girl who they are both interested in, and they're like, hey, do you know if that girl's single, or if she's if she has a boyfriend? And then Mark gets this idea that people want to know this, and he immediately goes and puts in that relationship status functionality to the Facebook profile, and immediately people start putting it in, and you no longer need to guess whether someone's single or they're committed, and you can just go to their Facebook profile and check it out. So understanding those qualitative and quantitative data will actually help you do that. And similarly with realestate.com as well. By looking at the data from how their users are using this product, they actually brought in the home loan calculators, and they brought in that marketplace for home loan providers as well, providing more additional value, but at the same time generating more revenue for the business. Embracing product-led growth throughout your design process. This will actually help you build a product that actually sells itself and grows itself. Product-led growth focuses on the entire user life cycle, but specifically on the acquisition and engagement and conversion of the product itself. The aim of product-led growth is to get the user to get to that aha moment where they see the value out of that product as quickly as possible and as easily as possible. 53% of buyers would prefer to buy software without any interaction with sales, which means they want to try the product themselves. They want to see if it works for them and then buy it, instead of reaching out to customer care and getting a demo and all that. Slack actually grew 10 million daily active users in less than 2 years using product-led growth. Dropbox similarly acquired about 500 million users. Zoom grew to over 300 million users. And the other one, which is great here, is Hotmail. Hotmail grew using product-led growth as well. So you can actually, you might probably have seen all of these things. So when you create a Slack account, Slack immediately asks you, hey, do you want to invite your friends? Or do you want to invite your colleagues or teammates to this? And you invite them, and you're one person who joined Slack, but you're actually bringing in all your teammates. Dropbox. So Dropbox said, you create a Dropbox account, and if you invite a friend and they join Dropbox, you both get 500 MB free, right? 500 MB of storage, which probably costs like 50 cents. I don't know. That way, there is an incentive for the user to bring in other users. And Dropbox doesn't need to spend a lot of marketing dollars in acquiring users. The product itself is selling it. Zoom, they have a freemium model where you get started for free. You can use it for 40 minutes. And you can't actually have a video meeting with just yourself. So you invite someone else and they join, they get, they become aware of Zoom and they use it. And when the users reach sufficient scale and need, then they start becoming a paying customer. So Hotmail similarly want a free mail, join Hotmail at the bottom of every email that was sent out of Hotmail. So every user you sent an email to with your Hotmail account, potentially Hotmail marketed to them, and the product itself, they could try it out and become a user. Aesthetics. This is probably the last but one for us. So aesthetics is not just a nice to have anymore. And like we said, there's about 5 million applications in the market today. So the visual appeal of the applications are becoming more table stakes because people have multiple options to choose from. People generally now feel that if a app is more visually appealing, the brand is better, and they're more likely to trust the brand. And apps with good aesthetics have about 70% higher retention rate as well than compared to apps without good aesthetics. And in Google Play Store and Apple App Store, apps with 4.5 or higher star rating are downloaded 250% more than a rating of 3.5 or less, because people automatically feel that the quality is low or it's probably not a great app, even though it might probably solve their problem. McKinsey actually did this survey, I think a couple of years ago, where they looked at the apps and the revenue of the business and the relationship to their visual appeal. And what they found was businesses which had a good design index score, or basically better visual appeal, generated 4 to 7% more revenue than other businesses, and total return to the stakeholders was more than 5 to 10%. So there's a real clear correlation between the revenue that's getting generated to the visual appeal of a product. The final one that we follow is mobile first designs, going with mobile first design because 80% of the internet traffic today is via mobile devices. And, people generally prefer to have that. And, mobile first design can actually lead to 20% higher conversion rate. And if the mobile experience is poor, 57% of consumers are willing to ditch that company, right? So if you're building a product, if you're thinking of starting a new service-based business or SaaS application, think of how you can build it mobile first, unless it's purely for a dedicated hardware like a POS system, or you know for sure that it's, say, something like an ERP system where it's run on specialized hardware and requires a lot of computing power in the backend. Those were some of our design principles that we bring in when we approach product design. Before I go to a case study, is there any questions that anyone have in the group? Cool. Awesome. So MyCombat is basically an application that serves as a training aid for combat athletes. So boxers, MMA, etc. Right? So it allows you to input data from your sessions, generate valuable insights, and understand statistics of how you are training and optimize your training plan. So it helps you stay on top of your training, so you can actually, say, compete in a tournament, and you can become a better fighter, right? I think there's a new chat. What tech stacks do you recommend for app dev? I'll actually get to that question a bit later, after this case study, if that's okay. Sorry. So that's basically what MyCombat was. Now, MyCombat, when they came to us, they faced problems in user engagement, and they weren't getting a lot of traction. They had built the product with another company, and they had technical issues, they had design issues, they had traction issues. So they came to us, and they gave us a brief saying that, please address the app's shortcomings. We want to enhance the user experience. We want our users to drive adoption and conversion, and the app has a lot of potential. The founders believed in it, and they said, we know that the app has potential, but we want to unlock it, because as of today, people are not seeing it. We started looking at it, and what you're seeing here on the screen, this is how the app was originally. So as soon as you open the app, it was basically just a list of static menu items. And this is how we changed it into. When we look at it, right? So every time the user opens the app, if they're seeing the exact same thing, just a bunch of buttons, it's not engaging for the user. There's no additional value that's being offered. So what we did was we actually changed the homepage into a dynamic homepage where we can actually show the progress that the user is making on their skills training, their conditioning training, and how much they have worked out that week, and how their well-being is going on, how much sleep they're getting, how much stress, and how much energy they are. We did not introduce any new functionality. All this sleep, stress, energy, training, everything was in this previous application as well. It was just how it was presented to the user. understanding there was no PLG mechanics to make the user sticky. So there was no recording your trainings or sharing your trainings with your trainer or your other athlete friends and all that. So we built that so you can actually have a prominent record button, and you can click on it and you can record your trainings, and then notifications to remind the users to add their training as well, so that it becomes more sticky. And here the old design was, although it was simple, it wasn't capturing that user attention, and it was mostly text based, and people had to read through it. So we brought in what people would easily identify with using emojis, and we brought in charts, and we brought in progress dials. So we made the information more visual, so people don't need to read it. They can just look at it and go, okay, this is how I'm doing. And there were a lot of other functionality that were creating noise, like inputting your competitions, inputting your teams, your food and all that. So we actually said, let's focus on the core functionality that the users need. Let's actually get all the distracting functionalities out of the app for now, turn it off, and if people want it, we can turn it on, and let's look at the data and then make a decision. And based on that, this was another page that we redesigned. So this was basically how they were inputting the well-being. So it was a scale of 1 to 10 everywhere. So the user had to read it and look at where the number was and input. And 1 to 10, quality of sleep, poor to great. What's 7? Like people would probably not understand, right? So we actually brought in visual representation of how stressed out they were, and how much sleep they got, and made it more fun and visual, and even energy levels easy to understand. And this was the other page, the training page as well. This is how we changed it to make it really easy and visual for the user to input their training schedule. And based on these changes, after doing these changes and rolling it out, the app saw an increase in user conversion. Because it's a private app and private business as of today, I can't actually share the exact number, but it did see increase in user conversion. They have 100% 5-star rating on the App Store today. They got increased confidence in investing in marketing and user acquisition. They brought in new investors, and the business owner, he is an MMA trainer as well, and now he has more time for MMA training. So, which was a great result for him as well personally. So that was about user experience and why it's important, and how you can actually design and build a great application. In the next couple of weeks, we'll be looking at product-led growth mechanics. You can actually get your product to sell itself, how you can use the jobs to be done framework, what are the key design elements and key decisions that you can take, how you can bring in high converting design elements within your product, and how you can actually collaborate on Figma, which is a designing tool, with your designers and your engineering team, so that nothing's lost in translation. So going back to the tech stack. So question that was there on the chat there. So what we do with the tech stack is, again, our engineering team will look at that and generally propose the best tech stack for the application. But say, for example, if you're building a SaaS application which doesn't require a lot of native functionality or graphics, or say gyroscope, or those specialized mechanics, our general recommendation is going with cross-platform application language like React Native or something. So you can reduce your maintenance, you can build it once, deploy it on multiple platforms, and also minimize or optimize the resources that you're spending. Again, backend, it's cloud, so there's many different ways of doing it, many smarter and many quick ways of doing it. It depends probably on what your immediate objective is. Say, for example, if your immediate objective is proving your hypothesis, so you can go and raise funding, and you want to go with the cheapest and quickest option, it could be serverless. But if it's a long-term option, looking at how you can set up auto-scaling cloud infrastructure, that would come into picture. So the tech stack question is primarily
it's bespoke.
bespoke and depends on your situation and your goals. So happy to have a chat if you have specific questions on that. But that's basically the general answer to that. Nanisha, I think the question is, how do you go about translating manual UX to digital UX? Can you help me understand this question a bit more?
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes.
Hi, I was trying my best to describe the question a bit more better, but I think it's best verbally said, I guess. First of all, a great session. Thank you for this. When I mean manual UX, obviously user experience, like as you know, like brick and mortar, like back in the day kind of thing, where user experience was more like hands-on in person. That's what I meant, like interacting with the customer firsthand in person, doing the feedback and doing the validation. So transitioning from that into digital, so like online, obviously. So yeah.
So if I understand your question right, it's about in say brick and mortar stores where people come into the store and purchase stuff, how you can actually look at or adopt these principles. Is that what you're saying?
Correct. Yeah, around that. Yeah.
Yeah, look, we actually, interestingly, we work with Adidas on this. And again, I'll just talk a bit about the use case, and then we'll talk about how we approach that problem. So Adidas basically had a brief, which is people come into the Adidas stores, they buy the products, obviously, and they pay for it, they walk out, right? Adidas also had the e-commerce store where people can buy it. But people come to the store because they want that experience. They want to be able to see the product, try it on, and then make a decision. Right? Now, the problem users were facing was they come into the store, they want to try on the product. They try on, say, for example, shoes, right? So they try on the shoes and they like a particular design. They want to try it on, but the size is not available in the store. So, the store says, oh, we can place an order for it, and or you can go and buy it online, or they come into the store because they have seen something online and they realize that that product is not available in the store for trial because it's sold out, or it's only available specifically online, and there's multiple different things there. So the ultimate idea was how you can actually get Adidas customers to try out the products and make a purchase quickly and easily. So what we did was we actually took a lot of these things, understanding the customer psychology, because they want to try it out. And why do they want to try it out? They want to make sure that it actually is a right fit. And why do they want to make sure it's a right fit? Because different products might fit differently, and they want to look at it from all different actions and all different directions. And when you look at the product-led growth mechanic as well, when you come into the store, you buy in, you're bringing in a friend or your partner or someone to help you make the decision. And with online, it's a bit difficult there. So by looking at this, what we did was we actually designed a kiosk, or I wouldn't say a kiosk, a table application where you try out the product, and if, say, for example, you can't actually complete the purchase within the store, in the store itself, you can just go in, put in your information on the table, and the product gets sent to your home. And you also get a 360-degree view of each of these products. Say, for example, if the product is not available within the store for you to check it out, you get a 360-degree view of it on a big table there on a digital display. So you can actually check it out there. And Raymond's, who is another apparel maker, they actually have solved this problem as well really well, because they actually do bespoke custom suits and clothes. Say, for example, if I wanted to go buy a shirt or a suit, and they only have like just a plain cloth because they custom stitch it for you, I wouldn't be able to check it out how it looks on me by just looking at the cloth. So what they have this huge mirror, which is a digital mirror, and you stand in front of it and you pick and choose what cloth you're planning on selecting. It actually shows you in a suit based on that cloth how it's going to look on you. So you can actually bring in a digital overlay on a physical experience and get a similar or maybe even a better experience, because now you don't actually need to try on 10 different suits, which is time consuming. You can just change the different designs, and within 10 seconds, you can see how you're going to look in 10 different clothes or suits.
Yeah, nice. And just a follow-up, if you don't mind, like very quickly, like can they technically go hand in hand, or like what would you say is the ideal ratio between manual experience and digital experience?
I'd probably say, first and foremost, it has to go hand in hand, but the ratio or how the touch points are exchanged and how the flow happens, the user flow is on the core job to be done for the user. So the ultimate objective would be how you can get the user to complete their job as quickly and as easily as possible.
Okay. Well, thank you. I actually have to go because my laptop's gonna die, but yeah, thanks.
No worries. I think that was it from my end. There's a question from Rachel. I have a MVP using Glide app, which is giving me so many limitations. Would you recommend Bubble or WordPress instead? We need the following functions: map listing, user profile, users to upload. The tech capacity is PHP, JS, HTML, CSS, and MySQL. I think Zane would be the better person to answer this question. Probably Rachel, I'd say connect with Zane after this session, and maybe you can talk about it.
Well, yeah, we might go into a little bit more depth. I think it'll be a little bit too much for this meeting, but we can definitely on the screen there, left on the screen with my phone number. So please utilize it, because I'm more than happy to have a conversation about that for sure.
Thank you. Then how can I get in touch with you? I missed that.
Yep, I'm just posting on your comment. That's my phone number there. So we can have a chat about that one in depth.
Should I give you a call at what time, or text you first?
Yeah, send me a text first, because we'll set up a time that's suitable for us both.
Okay, cool. Thank you.
Awesome, thank you.
Well,
Okay, Brian.
Yeah, great job, guys. Another great session, Vish. Really cool. Definitely, I every time I attend one of these, I learn so much from your guys' side. So thank you so much. It was really, really positive. Folks, if you do have need to watch a recording of this, which I think you should, just because it was jam-packed with info. The YouTube channel is I posted it on the chat. Just go in there and subscribe to it. It'll alert you when the upload is done. I'm literally gonna, as soon as we end this meeting, I'm going to take the recording, put it into Canva, clean it up a little bit, and then upload it up. So it might just take me a few hours, but at most it'll be up this afternoon. I want to thank our friends from Appomate again. Vish and Zane, you guys are great. We look forward to inviting everybody to our second and third sessions, which is coming up just in a week, every Monday. So if you just want to go ahead, and if you don't have tickets for that, please just go into our Eventbrite channel, and you can reserve your tickets then. But I'll be sending out an email with that link as well, as long as with a copy of the recording. But easiest way to do it is onto the YouTube channel. And again, if you have any questions for us at the Startup Network, my name is Ryan. I'm the head of community. Just feel free to ping me. We got a lot of different options out there, but yeah, really great session today, guys. And yeah, I'll let you go. Have a great day.
Thanks, Ryan. Thanks, everyone. Cheers.